Okay. I still have a bit of cleanup to do, as you can see, but won't be very long. Oh, whew. Hey guys. Hi Phoebe. Hi on horseback. Hey Tsukaboo. Hey Yato. Hi Patricia, Lena. Hi guys. Cleanup necessity just means you were properly busy. We had a bit of a situation where we had to shuffle a lot of things around because the landlord came in and replaced both faucets we have in the apartment because they were pretty busted. So I had to bring in a lot of stuff and put it here. And didn't really have time to put it back where it should be, which is the bathroom. It's mostly all my brush cleanup stuff, my water containers. Hi Lise, hi Malvina, hi Elena. Okay. Does anyone else have this issue in the winter when you wear slippers or even when you walk barefoot that your freaking socks turn around your foot, like the heel is on top of the foot? I have no idea why it does that, and it's super annoying. Oh, okay. Hey San, hi. Oh Phoebe, you have the sock problem too. Yes. I really hope I'm not alone with that, because that means that there's something I'm doing wrong with my shoes. No, I think actually they're too loose. But it happens even when I walk barefoot with no slippers, just socks. The only thing that I found that keeps them from turning around is wearing something that is more tight around my foot. Yeah, and then the whole sock gets dirty and gross. Yes! And it stretches out like the top of the sock because it pretends there's a heel there. Yeah, same. Even without shoes. The only thing that has prevented this is, yeah, like I said, shoes that are not too tight, not squeezing your feet, but tight enough that the sock really has no room to move around. I don't feel like my socks are too big though. They seem to be pretty, I don't know. It's just super annoying. It's probably something in the way I walk. But I'm like, I feel like all I keep doing throughout the day is putting my socks like back the proper way. Can't be bothered to put on socks. Well, is it cold where you live? Yeah, I have the same issue with like ankle socks, like thin, thick, basically any socks I wear will, with varying speed, but will eventually rotate around completely. Like 180 degrees, like the heel is on top and the top of the foot is on the heel. So yeah, that's silly. Maybe we walk weirdly. I think that's probably it. Hey, I even thought of an idea to sketch today. So, not too shabby. Just enough. It was really funny this morning because, like I said, the landlord came over to help fix the faucets, and he came with his brother. They're both like handyman, and they do most of the repairs. And it was really funny because Peko went and hid. That's what she usually do when there's like new stuff happening. She hides first, and she like observes from her hiding spot. And Scout was just right away like going to them and trying to sniff them, and like she even rubbed her head like against one of the guys. Like she was super duper cute and friendly, which was very, very cute overall. Today I'll be sketching, I think it's going to be 2 cats sitting on stools at the sort of cafe, and one is adding way too much cream or sugar into his drink, and the other one is looking at him or her with a face that's like, what are you doing? What? Depends. In winter it can get to -5°C easily. Oh, that's warm. that's sort of decent. Like when it's -5°C outside, I'm usually happy because I'm like, yay, it's not -15. It's pretty cool here. But yeah, Scout was really, really cute. So it was really nice to see, because like the only thing you gotta be careful about with Scout is that you need to let her like sniff your hand, and when she's done you can pet her, which is the case for most cats. Like when you see a cat you don't know, you just like present your hand, they will sniff it, and they will lose interest in your hand or rub against your hand when they're fine with it. And that's the only thing, like they would just reach out and pet her, and she was trying to sniff their hand, and they kept moving their hand. It was kind of funny, but she was really like friendly, which is nice, because she's the worst cat in many other ways, but at least she's good with visitors. Where do you live on horseback? Yeah, in the winter when we can get -5°C, that's a good day. Because the thing is like winter is, recently it's been from November to April-ish. So that's like almost 6 months of winter-ish weather. Yeah, I was proud of my Scout, to be honest. I was like, thank you for being a decent pet today and scoring points with strangers. But we have this theory that she really likes like handyman and like the technicians, because when the guy came over for the modem, the internet thingy, she was also like all over him. Like, hi guys, and she was rubbing against his stuff and just, hey Ellen, hi. Ooh, a wedding. Ooh, isn't it a bit cold for I kind of want to cover up just hearing about it. Ugh. So on horseback, you're in the Netherlands. Oh, wow! If there's a place in the world that doesn't get any colder than 5 degrees Celsius, that's a that's a good spot to stay. I would take it. Indoor wedding. Oh, whew. I used to work in a place of the old town, old Montreal, that there was a church there that is kind of a nice church, and there would often be like weddings and wedding setups for photos, and you can kind of just steal a glance or two because you're like just passing by and it's happening. It was always funny to see like the way they stage the photographs and all of that, because some of them are really, really cool, but some of them are so cheesy that it's kind of funny, you know. Or like the dress or the colors of the wedding. Like, since wedding is really not something that interests me for my personal experience, it's always curious to see it happen, you know. Hey Mikey, small indoor wedding for a friend. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's are you doing the gig for free though? Or are they sort of compensating you for it in any way? I went to one wedding so far because really none of my friends are pretty into this stuff. And there was only one of my friend that I don't really see anymore that was married, like the whole thing in church and all of that. And I remember I was just crying because I was like, I don't like realistically, I don't really care so much about weddings per se, but you know, seeing someone you've known for a long while and seeing them happy and having this moment means a lot to them. There's kind of a lot of emotions, and I was just crying. Always feel silly a bit because you're like, I'm not sure why I'm crying, but I'm crying. It's happy tears, but yeah. Minus 25°C in Germany. Ooh, that's cold. Mostly for free. They're shooting me a bit of... Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's gotta be stressful. Like, I mean, people who decide to get married, it usually means a lot to them to have this event happening. So I can understand wanting to have really good photos of it, and it can be very stressful on the photographer because, I mean, you can take a really nice picture, but some clients are gonna be like not super nice either way because they might be a bit stressful, or you know, they want it to be perfect. Sometimes people also, like, I remember I worked in a photo studio back many years ago, and my boss was doing wedding photography, and sometimes people don't really realize what you can and cannot do with photos. So sometimes it's really funny because they have expectations and it's just not realistic, and it's really hard to explain to them that on this day where they feel they can make everything they want happen, certain things are just not possible. Lotta says, I'm super good friends with my wedding photographer now, and my gosh, the bridezillas they have to deal with. I wouldn't want to have to deal with the bridezillas. I'm like, oh. Yeah, I went to that one wedding, and then when my mom got married too, but it was I don't know what's it called in English, but it, you know, the a city hall wedding, not the big church thing. Mikey says, we drove in a Rolls Royce from the church to the reception, and the car broke down, and it was a mess. Yes, that's kind of... I think that's why weddings have never really captured my imagination, because they're presented so much as being the most perfect day ever, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not possible. You cannot have a perfect day, like, especially for something that is so reliant on so many factors of planning, pre-planning, other people, you know, everything else that is not in your control going smoothly. So there's just like it's really nice to see in TV shows or when friends have it, but for me it would be like, I sort of can't figure it out for myself. Ew, my chocolate is getting really weird. Justice of the peace. Oh, interesting. Also, I'm not big on dresses. Well, I mean, I could wear whatever I want, and I know that, but yeah. I don't think I've worn a dress in... Hold on. I don't think I can remember the last time I wore one. Wedding tips. Keep things to a bare minimum, sort out the critical things yourself, and do not invite that one idiot friend your husband went to uni with. Oh no, what happened? This is a huge cup. It's not that big. It looks bigger perhaps on camera, but it's my super double wall mug that keeps the drinks warmer. Except that the soy creamer I put in it is sort of all gross at the top, but it's fine. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Ellen. If I had to make it bigger, like to accommodate more people at a wedding, like, just as an example, I don't think it could happen per se because this is Canada and it doesn't really have it, but it would be something like a barbecue picnic on the beach with hot dogs, you know, not something where you really limit the possibility of it going wrong. You know, no big caterer, no big thing going on, no... Oh, it could be, what's it called? We call it épluchette de blé d'Inde in French. It's basically you grab huge bags of fresh ear of corn, because we grow it in Quebec and it's really good. So you can buy these huge bags of like a bunch of corn cobs in there. And you have these huge boilers and you just boil a lot of corn on a cob, and people just eat a buttload of corn on a cob. The idiot friend rang out the night before the wedding saying he's at his accommodation but hasn't got cash to pay the parking. We say, well, find a free parking spot. Duh. Then he calls again saying they can't find his booking. You know, the booking for accommodation that he made. So we had to take a cab across town to his hotel, then pay for a room for him. Sounds like an unreliable jerk. You're like, oh, they can't find it. I'm like, it's probably because you didn't make one, duh. Stop trying to... I don't get that. Like, people who try to take other people for stupidos. Like, I don't know. I just... This is a whole area of human behavior that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like, people who would rather lie than be honest and still expect to be trusted fully after that. It's like, well, I don't know, man. I do believe that's one that's one night I had the right to turn around and scream, "Shut it up yourself, stupid. This is..." That sounds like a guy who should have gotten his car and driven home. Yup, definitely. That's the kind of rubbish that I really don't want to have to deal with. So yeah, like I said, it would be like, hey, it's happening on that day. It's gonna be like corn, a big bunch of corn. And if you can come, fine. If you can't come, well, too bad. That's it. I have like very little tolerance for that kind of stuff going on. Like, dealing with too many people is so messy that, like, on a day that is supposed to be like, this is the one day that everyone tells you is supposed to be about you, and I'm fine with this concept, but if it's supposed to be about me, I should be able to say, like, this. In fact, the best one would be just like me and Mr. E and the cats, and that's it. I'm fine. I don't need 1 billion people. And there's so many expectations put on a wedding, and I just can't. And like the open bar and the alcohol, that's the other side of things that, like, I don't drink alcohol, I don't like it. Mr. E doesn't like it either. But if you have sort of a wedding where you invite a bunch of people, it's kind of expected that there will be alcohol. And drunk people are just nasty to deal with. I don't like it. Corn roast wedding sounds amazing. Well, if I make it a corn thing event, and I share, it's a date and people can come. I mean, you guys would be allowed to come. Like, if you are available for that day and can come, that would be perfectly fine. But it would probably be a really weird wedding of a bunch of corns, cakes, because cakes are awesome, tea and drinks, but no alcohol, because I don't like alcohol. I don't like alcohol, and I don't like what it does to people too. Otto says, oh, I missed it, but it was like, there are people who can sort stuff out themselves. Like my cousin, who I very often wonder how on earth we share any DNA. Otto continues, we were at my mom's. Mom got a call from her sister. Her sister's daughter, so the cousin, was in Tokyo and missed her flight home, and she's crying at the check-in counter. She was 18. How did she miss her flight back? Well, she took a train to the airport with plenty of time. But guess what idiot took the right train the wrong way? Hey, Toaster Strudel, hi. Not only did she take the train going the wrong way, she did not notice that she was on the wrong train until it got to the end of the line. And don't forget the maple syrup. I think the maple syrup would be part of the tea. The tea area, tea, coffee, and hot chocolate with maple syrup. Meaning she is as far from the airport as she possibly can be on that line. Oh, good grief. But you're in Canada, so we can smoke the green, so who cares about alcohol? I'm not a big fan of the green either. She then gets on another train to get back to the airport, but of course she took a different line, meaning she ended up somewhere completely different. She then gets to the airport, missed her plane, and is now crying at the airport. I tell her to get a taxi to my mom's. She says she has no idea how. Well, even if she had no idea how, she could have asked someone at the airport, like one of the employees there, like, hey, how can I get it? I mean, basically in an airport, you just walk out and there are taxi cabs. They're there. They're like waiting for people who walk out of the airport and need a ride, you know? So in the end, Mr. Otto and Otto had to jump in a taxi and go and get her. Oh, that's insane. How about maple syrup drizzled over your wedding cake? Oh, yeah. Though, if it was my wedding cake, it would be probably like a 2-layer cake of like vanilla or yellow cake with maple icing, and probably maple fudge. and like maple syrup that you can add on top of everything else if you really want to inch closer to that diabetes. I would put maple syrup on my corn too. Maple fudge be still my heart. Maple fudge is amazing. You basically take a jar of maple syrup and you boil it with butter. There are like proportions and amounts, but yeah, it's basically just maple syrup and butter. And you need a candy thermometer, and you have to wait until it reaches a certain temperature. And then you take it off the stove, you whip it until it changes colors to this nice beige color. And then you put it in a like a lasagna dish, and you let it like cool down and settle, and you put it in the fridge, and then you cut it. And it's basically just like chocolate fudge or the other beige fudge, the cream and brown sugar fudge, but it's just maple, and it's so insanely sweet. It is a super easy recipe. The only difficulty is having to deal with the thermometer and not burning the mixture. Then whipping it is a tiny bit tricky, but it's like the first time I made it, I only made it like once or twice, but first time I made it I was like panicking because I was like, this is not the proper color, and I was trying to whip it, and it's kind of hard to whip too because it's like super like intensely like syrupy. But the more you get around to it, then it sort of gets to the proper color and tastes pretty good. The wedding attire: lumberjack shirts, jeans, mukluks. Definitely plaid, definitely jeans. No, better, sweater pants. Everyone has to go out to Roots and get a pair of sweater pants. And we eat corn and cake with maple. And the good thing is that the maple fudge, you can probably make it with like a butter substitute. So it's probably the thing that is the friendliest to people with allergies and food restrictions, because it's only like maple syrup and some sort of fat in it. So unless a person is allergic to maple syrup, they would be pretty sad at that wedding, but yeah, it's kind of really friendly. Because cake kind of has to have like wheat in it and eggs and a bunch of stuff. Be aware, there is always one person who will not follow a wedding dress code. Well, they can't come in if they don't. If they don't have some plaid somewhere, they cannot come in the wedding. I will boot them out personally with my mukluks. Yeah, the maple fudge, I mean, no one can eat a lot of it because it is intensely sugary, but it's also really delicious. So you only need like a small amount to be completely satisfied with it. Oh, that's really, really bad. Lana says, I was on a wedding once where someone else also wore a wedding dress. That's bad manners, come on. Oh, I that's not true. I went to a third wedding back when I was, well, 4 of them actually, when I was a kid. I forgot about those because they no longer like are a thing. Like the people separated, so I kind of forgot about it. But yeah, I don't know, man. Both were kind of big thingies, and maybe that's why it kind of lost a bit of its appeal. It's like those 2 weddings were like the most wedding-like events, and ultimately the couple separated. So it's just weird, from an outside perspective, because you assist to this big event that's about like being in love and being with the person you love forever and all of that. And I'm not against divorce at all, but it's just weird, you know, this part of me is like, well, if there's a chance of a divorce, why go through the wedding anyway? Like, I'm not saying it's a good way to think, but I think it's just a weird overlap of experiences for me. So there's a trend I've been seeing online. What's everyone's opinion on wedding proposals at other people's wedding? Oh no. No, that's... Oh no, I think that's really, really, like, awkward and really not the place for it. And also, like, how do you perceive that event afterward? Like, I can easily understand a proposal that happens in a place that is meaningful for the couple, but when the proposal happens to other people's wedding, like, what's the justification for that to be the place of the proposal? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean anything to the couple, per se. Oh yeah, no, double weddings, that can be its own thing, but proposing at someone else's wedding? That's just awkward. Oops. Patricia says that would be a heads up for the girl getting proposed to. Warning, incoming narcissist. Oh, bye, Helen. Ellen, sorry. I added an H there that is not there, but thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope the wedding goes well. And the photographing part goes well too. Oh, I don't know. I don't think there's many on the chat right now, but I know that Otto is there, and I just want to say that I mailed out the Patreon rewards, like yesterday, I think. So it should be there in about a week. It's a week or two, I think. It's like 6 to 9 open days. Yeah, yours has a couple of other things that I told you I would get you, like the jazz dreamscape drawing and the drawing of you and Mr. Otto hiking. So I snuck those in the envelope as well. It was really fun to work on those. It's the first time I do like original paintings as Patreon rewards. It took me a bit of a time to get them done, but I'm quite happy with them and I think they look nice, so I hope that people who are getting them would also think that. Oh, I wanted to ask something really, really dumb. I don't know why that crossed my mind earlier, but you know, I was wondering, like, is there a fancy medical term for boogers. I'm sorry, that's really dumb, but it kind of crossed my mind and I was like, I can't get it out of my mind now. Like, we hear fancy medical terms for a lot of other things, but I don't think I've ever heard one for that. Snot? Is that the fancy medical term for boogers? Phlegm. Ew. But quite possibly. Snot, mucus. There are things, because some of those can be found like in the respiratory system elsewhere, but I was like, I don't know why I came upon this weird train of thought. I think it's because we were thinking about words and things that kids do, and I was like, there's no way that the word, well, at least the word in French, but there's no way that the word in French for boogers wasn't created by a kid. No way. So I was like, well, then what is the proper word for it? And we were like, you know what? I don't know. There's no cool scientific word for booger. The closest we can come to official terminology is dried nasal mucus. Blech! Whoa! Wow. Oh, thank you guys for going along my stupid train of thought. Snoticus cakeified. Oh. No, I'm glad I know, but like I didn't expect it to be such a like a straight up description of the thing, you know. Sometimes these kind of things, like, they have a really obvious name in the common language, and then you look at the scientific name and it's like, you're like, well, like let's say a phlebotomist, for someone who will handle like a blood retrieval. What's the word in English? Oh my god, my English is failing me. But yeah, and that's kind of the word that basically, if you just hear phlebotomist, you're like, I have no idea what it is. And at some point someone tells you what it is and you're like, oh, okay. So basically the trained nurse who does the blood pickup thingy. Drawing blood, thank you so much. Oh wow. That was so far gone in my head. Because in French it's prise de sang. So sang is blood, and prise is a bit like collecting it, like you blood retrieval. Thank you so much. Hi Diane, by the way. So yeah, so it's some expressions, some words really are easier to translate back into French and or English, but other words I'm like, wait, I don't remember what it is, so that happens. Being poked. Yeah, that works too. Eye bookers. I've heard some people call them crusties too, I think. I was watching Grey's Anatomy for a while, and they would often use like the acronyms for some things or some tests or whatever, and it's really easy to get lost very, very quickly. Because you're like, they're bringing that patient somewhere to do this whatever procedure, and I guess I'll find out what it is in the next scene. Yeah, that's a good name for them. Here's an old show. Did anyone ever watch ER? I did. When I was younger. Hey, Stephen. Hi. I used to watch it. Like my mom was a nurse, so she had a lot of interest for ER. We used to watch it, and it's the same times that I used to watch Sequest as well. Really loved Sequest. It had a dolphin. I mean, come on. And the like young teenage dude in it was cute, so it is what it is, right? ER is an older one. I don't remember much of it, but I'm guessing it was probably very dramatic. Casualty? Oh, good grief. That's kind of a name that doesn't allow for a lot of wins on the doctor's side of things. I think I need to watch MASH again. It counts as a medical show, right? In a way. Yeah, it's been a few years since I watched all of it for the first time, and I think I'm due for a rewatch. I kind of like Dr. House as well before it got really sort of nonsensical and so dramatic too. They should really stop producing shows before they get to that point. Yeah, MASH, they don't really show a lot. Like when you see, I don't think you ever really see like close-up of procedures. And you kind of see a bit of blood on bandages and the such, like when they operate, or perhaps like when they get really bad days of a lot of wounded people coming in, like perhaps you will have smudges of it on their uniform, like the what they wear as an army surgeon. But it's never like there's definitely a lot more shocking visual in a show like Grey's Anatomy than it had than you have in MASH. MASH is such a good show. It's my dad's favorite too, which is why I was sort of around it a lot. And at some point, I don't know how, but my dad ended up with 2 like collector's edition of the whole thing, and he gave me one, and I was like, that's awesome, I can watch it now. And it gets really, really nice. Like, it's a bit weird in the few seasons of MASH are perhaps a bit weirder. It's really, really sitcom-y, and a bit more touch and go. Certain episodes are a bit weird, but it gets to a point after that where it's really relatable and really nicely written. And everyone's talking about the way MASH ended, and for cause. House was great because it was about the downfall of a man into himself. To me, that's why he became so nonsensical. I kind of lost interest at it when they started initiating this romance thing with Cuddy. Like, as a personality thing happening for House, it might have some interest, but the fact that then they made it happen and then they made it like fail or whatnot, and that's when I was like, you know what, I'm done. Hey, Rowdy, I'm not gonna scream back, but hi. Radar's departure was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. The one, it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly, but the first colonel they had, the one that leaves, that was a really, really shocking episode. They have a lot of things that sometimes it's really comedic and you're like, haha, and sometimes they have stuff that, like, you finish the episode and you have to stop the thing and you just sit there for like 15 minutes just trying to process enough of it to move on to some other task you have to do. Like, it's a really, really unique show. Rowdy is Tsukabu's cat, if I remember right. Yeah, I had a brain fart. Radar's departure was really sad, and yeah, that there are many things that, like, the way they wrote the characters is really relatable, and you really, even the ones that at the beginning you don't think you're gonna be able to relate to them, you end up connecting with them. So yeah, so that's kind of a really unique element of the show. And I mean, Alan Alda is still pretty awesome. He's really into like science and getting kids to know more about science and that kind of stuff. This is kind of a bad framing, but oh well. A bit like too much space at the bottom and not enough at the top. But I can always like crop some of the bottom to make it a bit more even. Yeah, I think that's it. Colonel Henry Blake. Have you seen that movie? He was in same time next year. Alan Alda? A new movie? Whoa. Oh, he has! Oh no! I don't think I knew that. Yeah, that's kind of a thing that is not super... Like, I'm a lot of the people I like are not getting any younger, and there's a bit of there's a bit of a worry about that. Like, you never really want to open up Twitter and see their name trending. It's never good. Yeah, Parkinson is not easy. I'm gonna have to check up on him. Check out his Wikipedia page. Okay, we need something like happier to talk about. Galina, hi. Okay, who is gonna go see the new Star Wars movie? And what's your opinion of the most recent Star Wars movie? We can talk about purple. Anyone doing anything for Thanksgiving? Yeah. Canadian Thanksgiving was in October, so but yeah, I think it's a bit bigger than in the US, really, than it is over here, at least in Quebec. Thanksgiving is not super huge here. Haven't seen the new Star Wars movies just yet. Yeah, the new one is coming out for around Christmas, I think. Kind of the last of that specific trilogy. I struggle a lot with connecting to the new Star Wars movie because, in fact, I don't know why. Oh no, it's fine, Phoebe. I'm still interested in knowing what our American neighbors will do for Thanksgiving. Is it always like the big meal and... Because that's not something I have here, so it's always interesting to hear about it from a different perspective, really. Going to church for Thanksgiving? Is it a special... do they make some kind of special... Hold on, what's the word in English for it? Mass? I'm gonna be cooking all day on Thanksgiving. Oh wow. What are you gonna be cooking? The only thing I really take part in when American Thanksgiving comes up is that remixed song they made with a preacher woman who was who said the foods she prepares for Thanksgiving in a way that was turned into a kind of a song, and it's super catchy. And I always dig it up for for the month of the Thanksgiving. For us, it's pretty chill. My grandmother visit, and I did test cheesecakes this morning. One regular pumpkin and the other... Oh, sorry, hiccup. I drank the leftover of my hot chocolate. And the other sugar-free. Ooh. Hey, Lee, hi. Patricia says, I saw the first Star Wars on the big screen in downtown Toronto. Came out with my legs shaking. It was the first CGI we'd ever seen. Loved it. You mean the one, the one that is actually episode 4? Or the prequels? Man, the prequels are a whole other thing. Mikey says, my mom gets it low-key catered. We don't have people serving us or anything, but all the food is delivered. That's also a really good option. Because it's so much work to do all the food, and sometimes, if your family is not that big, it's kind of what happens with Christmas in my family. The family is rather small. There's at most, there's I don't know, 7 of us in one place at one time. So yeah, that's not enough people to do a huge amount of food. So definitely having a part of it catered is an excellent idea. A turkey and a couple of basic things. Ooh. It is potluck style Thanksgiving at my church. Oh, that's nice. It is for people who don't have a place to go for Thanksgiving. Oh, that's so cool. Such a good idea, honestly. Do they do the same for Christmas, you know? Alta says, someone please explain the whole putting a whole turkey in a vat of hot oil for Thanksgiving. I think the only element that this brings is really terrifying viral videos of like super dangerous oil fires and really bad mishandling of the whole situation. I'm terrified of it. I don't get it, because I'm like, the turkey is not battered. Like, I don't know why, but for some reason, seeing things being fried in oil but not battered really bugs me. I feel like you sort of only fry either French fries, or like things that have been dipped in batter first and then fried. I don't know. Hey, watercolor art in Cape Town. Hi. More of a veggies person. Yeah. Veggies. What is for dessert? Oh, cake. Make it cake. Which is bigger in terms of cooking, Thanksgiving or Christmas? I think it really depends on where you live. I think in the US both are really big. But I can tell you that in Canada, I think Christmas is definitely bigger. Deep fry the turkey from raw. I don't know how it cooks. I don't understand it. This is really not something I've been exposed to, so I'm like really puzzled. Undercooked greasy turkey. Gotta try turducken. That's it. Turkey, duck. What's the N for though? A chicken. So you stuff a chicken in a duck and the stuffed duck in a turkey. Are you tough enough to eat this junk? The only thing that was always my main focus point for the holidays, well, let's say Christmas, because yeah, in this situation, Christmas was the thing. It was the Christmas log, and no one is surprised ever. Oh man, that was always my favorite part of Christmas. The cakes. Of course it's the cakes. What else? I mean, my mom would do a homemade Christmas log, which is basically a genoise. It's a bit like sponge cake, I think. It's something that you bake in a shallow, like cookie dish, and it's basically just a flat cake, a big flat cake, and you cook it, and when it's done, you remove it. It has like a parchment paper under it, and you put it on a clean dish towel, and you roll it up, and you let it cool down rolled up. And when it's cooled down, you carefully unroll it, you put some icing inside, and you roll it back, so it has like this twirly of cake and icing in it, and then you cover the outside with more icing to make it look like a log. And then you try to catch the end pieces because they have the most icing. Well, KFC chicken, Otto, is always what's the word I'm looking for? It's either battered or it has like a covering of sorts. Like it's not just plain chicken that is fried. Oh yeah, we're a really easygoing group, Galina, and we have some kind of weird subjects at times, so hopefully you'll be okay with that. Hold on. I saw something that I wanted to mention. A spiral ham. Whoa, what is that? Patricia asked, did you have mincemeat pie at Christmas? That's the thing we would call tourtière, right? It's basically like a pie, and inside you have like hamburger meat that is cooked, right? I'm always confused because mince can be so many different things depending on the country. Like sometimes mince is like dried fruits in syrup, but sometimes it's like mincemeat, and I'm just like, whoa. But tortilla is a thing. KFC for Christmas in Japan is a really interesting thing. If you are any curious about it, definitely look it up on Google, because it's really, really interesting how it came to be like a huge thing in Japan to have KFC for Christmas. Oh, I'm glad you guys like the energy down here. Hey, SG Leinert, hi. SG Leinert says, down here in Georgia, you can take your turkey to a place that will deep fry it for you. Safer than doing it at home, definitely. Cooked pre-sliced ham, sometimes with maple syrup or honey drizzle. Oh wow. No, not tourtière. There's no meat in it. It's a spicy thing that is so rich and good. So is it the one with like the raisins and the chopped dried fruit in it? We have fruitcake. You guys know what fruitcake is, right? It's basically this cake that is, I think it's brown because they put possibly molasses or brown sugar in it, and it has like a big bunch of it has maraschino cherries or glazed cherries, I think, glazed lemon, orange peel, raisins, sometimes nuts, and sometimes they have like a weird icing on top. And in my family, my my parents, my grandpa too, they used to flambe it. And I was always like, whoa. Why did you put gross alcohol on top of a cake? Why? Oh, maybe it was rum. They glazed it, they flambéed it with rum. Chopped fruit, spices, spirits, sometimes sweat. No, I haven't had that. I'm not big on dried fruit, to be honest. I don't like raisins, so touch and go for that. Flambe is basically when you set fire to something. You sometimes see the cook, like the big fancy cook, they will like add alcohol at the end or just before serving, and they will light it up and it sort of burns like a blue flame. What? Wait, SG Leinert. I was devastated the other day to learn that pumpkin pie filling contains no pumpkin. What is it made of? I mean, the pumpkin pie filling that I can find here has pumpkin in it. It's made from acorn squash. Oh, what? Well, it does look like acorn squash, to be honest. Like, I've cooked the innards of a pumpkin and it never became that, like, richly reddish, orangish brown. Oh, man. Controversy, pumpkin gate. I'm gonna have to look into that. My cats really love canned pumpkin. My grandmother made fruitcake with rum and let it rest for weeks. Yeah, the flame thing they do with pancakes in France. I think with the pancakes it's often an orange flavored liquor. You hate cinnamon? Okay, well, you can give it all to me. I will take all your cinnamon. I really love cinnamon. I put it in everything if I can. I don't really make pumpkin pie, though. I kind of really enjoy pecan pie. Acorn squash pie. Yeah, we'll take the cinnamon. No worries. I'll have to look up what the canned pumpkin I get at the grocery store is made of. It says pure on it, so, but I'm like, is it pure squash or is it pure pumpkin? The cats really like it though. They go really crazy for this stuff. It's hilarious. Like sometimes it just, like the cans are big. It's the plain pumpkin, not the pumpkin pie filling. Like it's just plain pumpkin, no sweetener, no nothing. And it's a really big can of it, so I don't often use all of it in one go, so I keep the leftovers in a container. But it's really hilarious because when I open the can the first time, or whenever I take the container out and I open it, I've never seen a cat come to the kitchen so fast as Scout when I do that. Even when it's fish or meat, she doesn't come as fast as when it's pumpkin or whatever is in the can of pumpkin. Oh, well, on horseback, we'll take your cinnamon too. No problem. Oh, have a good lunch, Phoebe. Thank you so much for being here. Allergic to clove. Oh, no. There is no amount of cinnamon that is tenable. Aw. Well, give it to me then. I'll eat all of it. I'm good. I'm always a bit sad when I buy apple turnover and I can understand why, but they make it without cinnamon in it, and I'm always like, oh. Like, fine, okay, I'll add my own. And then I add, like, so much of it. Oh, Scout is really, really funny, but she goes insane for cinnamon, not cinnamon, but pumpkin. It never used to be this intense, but the last can I opened, and I made, like, it's a bit like when you want to do banana bread but you don't have ripe bananas. I will sub it for pumpkin puree. So I did like a pumpkin bread, and she was so into it. Like it was definitely the most awesome thing in the world, and I give her a spoonful and she eats it so fast. And she wants some more, so I give her a bit more. Cats can eat a pure pumpkin because it's good for them. Some cats like the taste, and it adds a bit of fiber into their diet, so can help, pushing out all the protein stuff they eat. Cinnamon shot, oh yeah. If I still worked outside of home, you can be sure that I would have my bottle of cinnamon at work. Definitely. Cinnamon shot. The only thing that is really problematic with cinnamon is if you make the mistake of inhaling it. It's a bit like cacao powder. If you inhale it, it's like such a fine dust that it really gets stuck in your nose and you start sneezing forever. This is the Pentel brush pen. It's the black one with the what I think is probably a kanji here, and it says Pentel GKFP Japan. It's refillable, so it's really cool. Is Bonnie a cat? So you can buy cartridges, and it's waterproof, which is why I love it so much. Yeah, maybe I should get pumpkin more frequently for the cats. And you can make some really nice things with it, like the kind of whatever pure pumpkin. You can make like a spaghetti sauce with it. You can make breads, muffins. You can make pie if that's your jam too. I've been trying to get Jazz to eat baby food. If you get the right kind, you can feed it to a hamo, but she's having none of it. She literally talked back at me if I tried to get her to eat it. Oh, that's so funny. She has so much character. A teeny tiny hamster, and like huge amount of character. Bunny is grumpy bum the cat. Well, yeah, if it's a cat, then possibly you could try to give her a bit of pumpkin, and if the cat doesn't take to it, then you can use it for baking too. Like I said, like you can make sauces, you can make breads. It's really, really versatile in terms of a puree. It's a bit sweet, but not too much. Yeah, cats can eat pumpkin, though, like I said, you gotta make sure you buy the pumpkin that doesn't have any spices in it. Because either they sell like pumpkin pie filling, and that usually has extra sugar and spices. But you can also buy pure pumpkin. That is basically supposed to be just the pumpkin. It's kind of funny because like I knew that cats can eat pumpkin before I got the cats here. And I'm pretty sure I tried it when they were really young, and Peko was not interested in it. She was just like, meh. So yeah, when she wouldn't eat it, we would give her to Scout, because Scout is like, oh, awesome, pumpkin. But as time went by, they only got more interested in it. Peko went from not interested to enjoying it, and Scout went from liking it to being crazy about it. So it's really funny. Ginger bum. Can hamsters eat? How do they eat the puree thing? Do they just like lick it, or do they dip their hands in it and lick their hands? How do they go about it? When I want to get the canned pumpkin, I can find it at the same place where they sell the other pie fillings, even the pure pumpkin. Like there's always the cherry, blueberry, whatever pie fillings. And they also have pumpkin pie filling and pure pumpkin there. So sorry, I keep having hiccups. So it's in the baking aisle at the grocery store. I wouldn't know, she won't eat the thing. Yeah, she also hates raspberry. Like, hates them. Maybe she doesn't like the seed in them. I couldn't blame her for that. The seeds in raspberry are a bit of a party pooper. Have you had pumpkin fritters, like a pancake? Ooh, that sounds good. Oh, pancakes with pumpkin. That sounds like a really nice idea. I saw a recipe for a sponge cake made with pumpkin puree too. I was like, sponge cake with pumpkin. We don't have as many canned veggies here. Pie making isn't as big a thing, and I guess a lot of produce is locally grown. Oh, that's good. No, I think it's the taste of raspberries. Her absolute favorite food is scrambled eggs. She left a piece of egg the other day because it was tainted with raspberry juice. Oh, she must have been so heartbroken over that. That sounds a bit like raisins in cookies. Like, oh yeah, awesome cookies. Oh no, they have raisins in them. Cue heartbreak. whoever doesn't want cinnamon but likes raisins, we can do a good trade here. I'll give you all the raisins and you can let me have the cinnamon. Doesn't look pretty, but it's delicious if you like cinnamon. Yeah. She never leaves egg. Oh, poor little Jazz. Oh no, Joy, I'm so sorry you have a headache. She must have been so confused by why did her awesome egg had this really gross stuff on it. I feel like my cats do the same thing sometimes. Like they see us eat things that they enjoy and then combine them with things that they hate, and they're like, but why? I'll take the fish. You don't have to put stuff on it. Oh boy, there's so many tangents in there. Oopsie. However, she loves blueberries. Oh man, I wish I could send her like good wild blueberries. They're really, really good. Maybe she would not like them though. But they're, from the human point of view, they're much tastier. So, yeah. Wild blueberries are A+. They're pretty good in smoothies though. They tend to not necessarily blend well, so you end up having so many pieces of blueberry skin stuck on your teeth. It's worse than Japanese nori. Oh, Lata says, it's so funny. If I give her a whole blueberry, she jumps on it, grabs it with both paws. She is so desperate to eat it, but it's too big to bite into it and too heavy to hold for long. And then Otto says that she normally cuts it in half for her. That's adorable. She basically has like a really huge blueberry pie all to herself. I would be happy to. Though I gotta say, I think my favorite one is the pie they make with the local strawberries. Ooh boy. That's like another level of incredible right there. Oh man, I would love to have a pie made from the fresh Ontario peaches. Peaches. Not enough thing is made with peaches, in my opinion. Like, you always see like apricot jam, and I'm like, no, apricots are not peaches. Not the same thing. It doesn't taste the same thing. Peaches are much better. Give me peaches! Oh, thank you so much for being here, Mikey. Oh, wow. Homemade blueberry ice cream. Maybe they do it with the blueberry juice. Oh no, allergic to peaches. I really want a teeny tiny frying pan just for making Jazz's teeny tiny scrambled eggs. You would need a teeny tiny oven. I've seen donut peaches. They're the really flat ones that are sort of like a donut, right? They're so weird. I've never had any because unfortunately I can only find them at the grocery store, and peaches from the grocery store, unless they're the peaches from Ontario in the season, they are never quite right. They're never ripe. Like, they may smell fine, but they will be super flowery or really hard, and I've never really managed to find one that was actually good, you know. But I would love to try donut peaches. How do you know when they're good to buy? Like, okay, I'll go get some water for adding a bit of color to this doodle later on, and I will also get a drink of water meanwhile, so hold on. Alrighty, I am back. I hurt my finger again. This is a good thing that this live stream is not too close up on my hands because they are a mess. I keep having like splits in the nail bed here. Is that the nail bed? Anyway, the part where the tip of the thumb meets the nail, it always cracks and then catches and then bleeds. Never ends. You check the sides of a donut peach with your fingers like you would a regular peach for ripeness. I'm terrible at gauging ripeness of a peach by touch. I usually can gauge it by smell. Hey, lab accident. Hi. Yeah, it really sucks. I really hate it. I hope it doesn't show too much because I don't want to show like a gross wound type whole thing in my finger. But it does it like I don't have having any kind of length of nails, so I just cut them. And when I cut them, it's always worst. But like index fingers and thumbs are the worst. Like they always split on the side, and the thumbs they split on the end, especially the right thumb. I'm always like, that's why I always have band-aids around. Because I'm like, the freaking hole again in my finger. And then all my hands are super dry because it's winter and I keep having to wash them. And I don't want to put cream on them because you cannot handle like watercolor paper with creamy hands. Or perhaps I should paint my nail. Perhaps that would help hide the bustedness. Okay. I tried a cream not long ago, and it was a great recommendation, but I was allergic to it, so no good. Hey, Mark, hi. Bonsoir du Texas. Well, good afternoon from Quebec. Texas, though you are probably 1 hour earlier than me. I'm not gonna make it difficult today. I'm gonna paint using the Schminke paints. And yep, this one. And this one. There you go. Or perhaps this one is a bit too thin. This bigger one. Oh, have a good nap, Joy, or a good night. It was lovely to see you. I hope you feel better soon. Lab accident. I'm sorry, my keyboard is kind of busted. My fingers are kind of busted, so I get it. I have 1 billion million brushes. I'm absolutely not worried about missing brushes. Though I gotta say, I've been sort of trying out the treacle brushes I have. And I quite like them. Most of them are synthetics. I think even the Protégé ones are synthetic Kolinsky. I have one that is actual Kolinsky from them. This one here. And yeah, so far I really like them. It's all like golden Taklon and stuff. Or fake. I think it's fake. Kolinsky. And there's this one here that is obviously white Taklon. But yeah, I like because they seem to be really pointy, so that's a good thing. Synthetics are really awesome. And I find them perhaps easier to handle when painting smaller things because real hair brushes, they will hold so much water that they will often leave too much water on the paper and then it cauliflowers. So having like synthetics, you can scale up. You can get a bigger synthetic if you have a larger area to paint, but they tend to hold a lot less water. So sometimes it's easier that way to manage cauliflowers. And yeah, they come. These are 2 special sets. One is Mab Graves and the other is artist Glenn Arthur. But that's fun. Treacle, I think the brushes are made in the US. And they always have like special sets with fun colors, so sometimes it's interesting to look out for sales over there. I did all of my paintings for Patreon rewards with the brushes. Oh, awesome! Which ones? Did you reach for the big soft ones more or the bristle ones? I really love synthetics too. I struggle a lot with natural hair. Like this is a Casaneo, it's synthetic too. This is synthetic. This is my like workhorse brush, the one I use for all the swatching. It's really hard to mess it up. This is Escoda Ultimo, also in synthetic. I have a bunch of Princeton Glacier here that are synthetic. In fact, I think it would be harder to find an actual real hair brush, except for the one Kolinsky I've shown earlier, this one. I think that's the single one real hair brush I have in my current selection. Oh, well, unless you count the Silver Black Velvets, because I think they're part scroll, part Ristlon. So they're part synthetic, part natural hair. I would say that paper is more important than brushes, personally. Like the order I would go would be get good paper first, good paint, and good brushes. If one has to absolutely prioritize, I think one is better off with good paper, a few colors of a really good paint and a few brushes that are decent enough. Like it's a better idea, in my opinion, to reduce the number of things you purchase, but to purchase good quality items rather than bulk for less. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Watercolor Art in Cape Town. I hope you have a great weekend. Oh, you used both, Otto. Awesome. The Zen ones were great for the background, really nice and even wash it. Yeah, they're pretty soft, those. And the custom angled bristle brush for the foreground. Oh, I'm really glad you like the MacGyvered bristle brush. I get really angry when a brush has a price that really doesn't warrant it. Like, those were modeled after Zoltan Szabo's brushes, which I think his brushes are lovely, but they're synthetic brushes, and the only thing is that the hair is cut at an angle. So I was like, I don't want to pay like $30 for a bristle brush that has an angle to it. Like, I'm not even sure I'm gonna like using it. So that really bothers me. Next month, I'm popping by my favorite art supply store for my Christmas haul. Oh, awesome! I hope you get good sales, Tsukabu. That would be really nice. I cut the brush, like, let's just use this one as an example. I'm not gonna cut it, I'm just gonna... I grabbed metal... Whoops, that's not metal. But I grabbed, you know, the metal and cork rulers. This is just brass, this is not good. Yeah, something like this. Like, it has cork on the back, and I went and I taped the brush down on my desk, and I held the ruler, and I took a razor blade, and I gently sliced it at an angle, super carefully to like keep it straight, and I took my time to make sure it would be like nice and even. Well, I'm glad you think it was done well. Do you have a top favorite 3 or 4 papers? Arches is great but expensive. Other ideas? Arches is really good. I usually get the pads, like the 9x12 pads of cold press. They're about $20 for... I can't remember how many pages. But to me, that's still a good, you know, balance of price and quantity and quality. I really like the B paper, the 140 pound. Oh, I have it here, but it doesn't have its packaging anymore. It's basically, you get a pack of a bunch of 6x9s like this. They come shrink wrapped, and it's 100% cotton paper, so quite good. And I personally also really like the Strathmore pre-cut paper. I saw you this paper. Did I? Always. I fell up. Where are you? Oh, why are you at the bottom of everything? Stay. Okay. This. Hey, welcome back, Phoebe. So I quite like this one because it's, again, 100% cotton. So that's what I try to focus on. And I've used this a lot. Most of my demo paintings in the videos are made with this now. Or the B paper. The swatches are often made on the B paper. This is not super expensive either. Okay, let's see if that is good to erase now. Oh, voiceover is really hard to do. Well, the Strathmore 500 here, that's good. Well, I know some people don't like it, but the thing is, I like it. That's the other thing, like, not every artist will have the same paper preferences. So I think your possibly ideal situation is to see what is available to you and what is within your budget, and if possible, what is cotton. Cotton is super important to me because it really takes on the paint differently than cellulose, and it's much easier to paint on cotton, I find, because you skip a lot of issues. Hey, I'm glad you liked trying, Phoebe. Hopefully I won't smudge it all up right now. I saw some Paul Rubens and Winsor & Newton cotton papers on Amazon for pretty cheap. The Paul Rubens ones I've seen were quite nice, but I think it's mostly hot press paper, so it really depends on what you want. I am not sure I've seen the Paul Rubens paper in cold press, but it's possible. Hopefully I will not forget that this is fresh, but I forgot to put the toes. Okie dokie. Oh, did I put away my brush? I think I did. We'll see if I forget that it is fresh, but yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised if I did. Oh. Well, I put my finger over it, so there's that, right? So what do you guys have planned for your next meal? I wanted to say dinner, but I guess that not everyone is facing dinner right now. Strathmore 500 watercolor paper is cotton, 400 is not. Yep. So 500 is probably the best. And hi, Holly, by the way. A napkin? It's a Kleenex. It's not even a napkin. You guys are proud of me. Oh, thank you so much. Let's just say I learn a lot through mistakes. Or learn. Learn is a really vague word in this situation because sometimes I don't even learn from them. I keep repeating them. And I'm like, whoop, I did the thing again. Oopsie. It will take about 12 hours for me to get to my next meal, breakfast. So bread it is. Bread. Toasts. Good old toast. What do you put on your toasts? I'm not sure what I'm having for dinner. Roy made a big pot of chili last night. Ooh, chili. What do you eat it with? Do you eat it with cheese or tortilla chips? Aw. Can you drink something at least, like water or what is it, flat Sprite? I just discovered that I have some riz à la mande in the fridge and cherry sauce. And I know I have to eat it now. Cheese, onion, torn tortillas. Ooh. Some cilantro. Avocado. Oh man. I saw someone describe avocados as sweet butter from trees once, and it really made me laugh. And I was like, you know what? That's not wrong, actually. Avocados are definitely the tree version of butter in a way. Toast with peanut butter and hagelslag, which is chocolate sprinkle. Ooh! Is it? That's Dutch, right? Is it? I had a drum roll with lamb kebab. Ooh. That sounds tasty, these. Tsikabu says, I had some Starbucks cocoa. May not be the best choice, but I made it with hot water, so that makes it better. Yeah, instead of milk, that's definitely good. Otto says, I did just finish off a homemade chocolate mousse. I am really envious. I gotta try that. I wouldn't say avocados are sweet to me, but yeah, I think the person didn't mean sweet in terms of like actual sweetness, but you know, in as a word for emphasis. Like you would say like a sweet glorious day. It doesn't mean it's sweet, but it's like it's the feeling of sweetness. What do my Quebecois friends eat this time of year? Fèves volants, tortilla. Well, that's more like Sugar Shack food. Tortilla is more in the is more for Christmas usually, because that's a lot of work to make a tortilla happen. The actual Saguenay tortilla is a lot of work because you basically have to cut by hand, or if you're lucky, you can get your butcher to do it, but you have to cut by hand all the meat in small chunks, and then you have to cut potatoes, and then you have to prepare the mixture, and then you have to make the dough, and then you have to put the mixture in the dough, and then you have to cook it, and it takes 1,000,000 years to do. Oh, do you think it got censored because it had fat in the name? I'm sorry, but fat is still a word, so it is like avocados have a high fat content, but it's all like natural and vegetable, so it's interesting. Hagelslag. I'm curious now. I'll have to Google that. SG Leonard says, tomorrow I will try to make buzz, traditional Mongolian dumplings. Ooh. Use the F word. Makes me hungry when you explain how to make it. It's a big ordeal. My mom and husband used to make them, but yeah, it was kind of a lot of work, and they got fed up with it, which I can absolutely understand. I guess talking about butter is bad now. I guess so. I'm really weird with butter now. Like, I find it difficult to enjoy butter. I don't have any dairy because I cannot really process it well. So instead of feeling awful, I would rather not eat dairy. But I can eat butter technically because it doesn't have any protein in it. But even now, I've kind of lost the taste for it. I always feel like it tastes a bit cheesy, like cheese, and I'm like, this is weird. Alright, so I want to start painting the cats, but I'm gonna have to check up some reference. Might have to start cutting up potatoes and meat. Tortilla is really good with homemade ketchup. I was never a fan of homemade ketchup, but I would put some Heinz ketchup over there. For sure. It has just this tiny bit of vinegar and tang that complements really well the pile of meat that is in the tortilla. And some people are going to find that pretty gross, but the recipe we had called for a bit of cinnamon with the meat and potatoes. Which is, again, not for everyone, but it makes for a pretty unique taste, I gotta say. So I'm gonna be using this book to try and find a reference of a coat to paint on the cats. I want all of them. Can I get all of them? I want all the cats. Oh. Sweet boy. All of them. Amazon, actually. The Complete Cat Breed book by DK. What does DK stands for in terms of book? Dorling Kindersley. Okay. And I got this book because the way it's structured, you have a lot of reference of cat coats, and the information part is really nice too, I gotta say. Like, they explain a lot of things about cats. Like, one part that I found really interesting was when they describe all the types of coats, because like there were some that I was not familiar with. They also explain all the types of hair you can get, because sometimes cat hairs don't have one color only. I know that Peko has like when you look at her hairs, they're like many colors, which is really interesting. Yeah, I think there was a dog book, except that I don't really draw dogs. But when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is good. Like, I didn't know that party colors was a way to describe a cat that has like white. It says that have 2 or more definite colors in their coats. Parties for party colors include bicolor and tricolor cats and are found in many breeds. Parties also include torties with white spotting. Even a small amount of white count as party coloring. So it's basically, Peko is technically a tabby, an orange tabby, but she's a party color because she has a lot of white on her. And I was like, oh! And then they have torties and pointed white spotting, which is a different kind of effect of having white on the cat. Anyway, it's just like really thorough, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is good cat stuff for cat people. And then the catalog of breeds is what really brought me to this book, because they most often have like a good full view of the cat. So when I want to paint a cat, like let's say these guys, I can look in the book and say, okay, I'm gonna paint like this kind of fur pattern. Even if I didn't draw like an exotic short hair, I can find good references for the way the coats are made, or like the patterns for the tabbies and all of that. So, and there's always like face, full body, most of the time at least. I don't think I've seen many that didn't have them. So it's a really good reference book. I kind of want them all though. Look at these guys. Sleek, close-lying chocolate tortoise-shell coat darkens with age. Does that mean that Scout is gonna be fully black when she gets older? She's so dark. Oh, so much pretty kitties. Okay, I need to settle on a couple of them for. I think I'm gonna do this one. And since I don't want to have to remember pages, I'm probably gonna do these two for the coats as inspiration. So is that good and dry? That's basically what I told myself too, Phoebe. Phoebe says, I had no idea cats could even come in this many colors. And I agree. And this is like the colors that are technically a breed and have a name, because you still got the domestic cats that can come in a hodgepodge of many things too. Oops, I forgot a part of the chair over there. Oopsie. Well, I remembered this time. I still managed to paint outside the line there, so I'm still me. Yeah, this guy here is gonna have white feet. Or girl. I mean, they could be anything. I don't have any preference. And they're cats. I'm pretty sure they don't really mind. I saw, there's a Twitter account that I follow, and it's a person who rescues and yeah, it's a person who does some rescue work for cats, and they had one not long ago that probably had an accident at some point, and they had sort of healed over it, but that one of their paw, the front paw, was really messed up, and it was not practical for the cat to keep the paw. So the easy thing with pets is that they will be fine with 3 legs instead of 4. And she recently got her operation, and they posted a video of her walking around, and it was really nice to see because she looked so you know, so good. Like, the cat was like, you know what, everything is fine. The cat doesn't really have any like they could go around much easier than before, so for them it's all good. And it was a really cute calico cat, I think, or sort of a tortie with a lot of white, and I was like, oh, poor little girl. I mean, I feel so sad when shelters don't want to help these cats, and it has to be individuals who take the initiative instead. But I am really glad that the kitty is doing well, and she's gonna be fine on 3 legs for sure. Not the first, not the last. And she definitely won't mind. Okay, let's do the pattern on this one. Oh, another silly cat thing. Someone shared on social media a picture, a video actually, of their cat. And I think the cat had some health issue of some sort. And they had to shave the cat's tail. So the cat is fully furred except for its tail. And it's an orange tabby. So its skin under it is not gray like a dark cat would be. It's pink. So basically when you see the cat from the back, it looks really wonky, and it really made me laugh, but it's also so silly. And I'm like, poor kitty doesn't understand that his bum look like something else now. Are animals killed in the shelters in Canada? It really depends on the shelter. Some of them are no kill, but some of them sadly can't afford it. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be... I really struggle with this notion that you don't have any options but to take this very drastic step. So yeah, I'm a bit not happy with that. I gotta say, we got our cats from a shelter, and I'm really glad we did. They were a bit far away, but they were really accommodating as well, so it was a good thing to be able to help them by taking off their hands these 2 monsters. I have to admit that I was too... Oh, you found it! Is it the cat with the shaved tail, Otto? Poor kitty! I have to admit that I was too chicken to take the chance to have my rabbit's leg amputated. I know they usually do well. Weird stats for rabbits, but still. Yeah, it really depends on the animal, of course, but... yeah, I know that for cats and dogs, it's really not as problematic. The way their body is made, like the way their paws and their weight is situated. Like they have... If you compare to a rabbit, they have long limbs. So they usually don't really have any problem adapting to a 3-legged gait instead of 4. And some cats are paralyzed from, like, have their rear legs paralyzed, and they still do fine. Like, it's really weird. And I know they can have phantom pain, but I mean, if something is painful anyway, it can be difficult to choose. Yeah, it's the ginger cat, is it? Yeah, it can happen to healthy pets if they're not adopted because they don't have space for all the pets. Yeah, and if a pet is sick, that's different. Aw, poor Ban. Can't get Butson Souriant song out of my head now. Butson Souriant. Aw. You already had the post as you sent the link to Mr. O this morning. It's so funny, but poor kitty. Like, the cat doesn't know any better. It can't see its own bum, you know. I feel so sorry for the cat because I'm like, it's hilarious, but at the same time, poor baby doesn't know. Sophie Militon. Yeah, the snow. No one misses the snow. Oh, I'm really sorry about the bunny, Elise. That's so sad. A golden retriever but with a stub tail. Aww. I'm pretty sure it's gonna move as much as if he had a full tail, because when golden retrievers are happy, they don't hide it. It shows. That's so cute. Yeah, the cat with the orange tabby with his shaved head, shaved tail. I was like, this is unbelievable. And it was kind of super interesting to see a cat tail without any fur on it. Yeah, there's a really problematic shelter around here that I try to avoid as much as possible. But there are a lot of smaller rescue groups or individuals that one can help to. And with Instagram, it's also really easy to find them. Instagram is a really good platform for people to share their pet rescue actions. Like Flatbush Cat is one of them. But there are so many other people, like individuals who help rescue organization with taking care of some pets. So, hey Cleo, hi. Wiggle butt. I like the cat wiggle butt, which is the wiggle you get before they attack something. So funny. Scout was on fire this morning, I swear. She played with their current favorite toy. Do I have it with me? It's usually in my pockets. Oh yeah. It's this hairband. It was one of my hairbands that I use sometimes, but now I've decided that it's the cats because they've been chewing at it, and you know what? They can have it. But they really enjoy playing with it. It's like a huge elastic. It's big enough that they cannot eat it, or get stuck in it really. Like it's kind of a safe size for an elastic, but also since it's an elastic, it reacts really randomly to stretches and pulls and whatever. So it makes for a really interesting toy to chase and paw around. So it's really funny, and also it's quite easy for us to launch it. Like you can just slingshot it across the hallway and they run after it. And Scout this morning was on fire. Like she was playing by herself with it and she was running around, and it was really funny. Pico had a moment too. She was on top of the fridge and just being crazy as well. Yeah, that's the thing that sometimes people don't realize about animals from shelters, is that they are socialized, they are healthy, they've been vaccinated, they've been spayed and neutered, if that applies, and like their health has been followed and checked, and they're ready to go. So yeah, that's the thing that people sometimes, they see the price of a rescue pet and they're like, whoa, I can get it cheaper getting at the pet shop or whatever. But you're like, yeah, but it's not the same thing. I don't know what is considered expensive. I think it's a matter of it depends on the person. But like in Canadian dollars, a cat from a shelter can be from $150 to $200 possibly. I guess it is. Patricia says it must be something in the air. Sydney has been a wild child all morning but is snoozing now. Same with mine. They were crazy all morning and now they're both fast asleep. Perhaps there's a storm coming. Hopefully not. No, thank you! I really could do without the storm, you know. uh, okay, so tortoises are a bit difficult to paint, I find, because of the very specific nature of their coat. That is definitely random, but it's kind of difficult at times to preserve like nice spots of the colors. So what I'm trying at the moment is to see if doing like a base layer in the lightest color, which is usually a really light orange, and then adding the darker colors on top, if I can somehow get a good effect that way. That's what I'm experimenting with. And I draw quite the fair share of tortoises since I have one. So it's always on my mind. Yeah, cats from the breeders are definitely more expensive. But I am not really big on cats from breeders. I can understand it for like I can understand it easier. It makes more sense to me when you consider a breeder for a dog, because dogs have a lot more fluctuation in sizes and all of that. But a cat, I mean, their character is all over the place. You have no control over what you'll get, and they're basically all the same size, except if you get like a Maine Coon. So, No storm, sunny and mild again tomorrow. Oh, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. Oh, 5 little... How are the kittens, Mark? Oh, 5 kittens. Phoebe says, my Dachshund keeps coming up with a look of tragedy, but then just walks away. Is the dog hungry? Nope, they're not sleeping, but they're pretty chilled out. Aw. They're doing well, I take it? Yeah, like dogs is really a different situation, but for cats, I would get a cat breed if it was at the shelter. I'm not against cat breeds, but I wouldn't deal with a breeder personally, because to me, I don't feel like it's necessary for cats. You're gonna get some kind of oddball anyway. There are things with dogs that are also really important to take into consideration, like people who have service pets, like service dogs. Not all dogs make good service dogs. So I can understand like something for the dog for people with vision problems. Like they're often Labradors. Is that the name for them in English? Or Bernese. I don't know dog breeds in English. I only know Corgi. And Valhund, which is basically a wolf Corgi. Oh no, poor Neuron. Aw, poor baby. Mark says, yep, doing well. That makes 7 cats in our house. The upstairs 2 my girls got from a shelter, and the mama and her 5 the downstairs. So that's 8 cats. Whoa. But kittens, I mean, kittens are so cute. Eight cats. I would love to have 8 cats. I absolutely do not have the stomach for it, but I would love to, you know, when you do rescue work, you help and see a lot of different cats, but it would break me every time. So I'm thinking that I will possibly at some point try to figure out a way that I can donate to shelters or whatnot. Not exactly possible at the moment, but that's the thing that I would love to make happen, because I know I cannot do it myself. It's too hard, but too emotionally hard, I mean. But if some rescues take donations, they usually do, because those pets in the wild can have a lot of health issues. So yeah. Oh my gosh, poor Neuron. How did he end up having his intestines all messed up? I saw someone share pictures of their bunny when it was the baby bunny the other day, and oh my gosh, baby bunnies are so cute. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Otto. Say hi to Jazz for us. Our little dear ginger bum. Thank you so much for being here, Otto. If you guys are curious about seeing Jazz, Otto has shared pictures of her either on her Twitter account or in the Discord. If you are familiar with the Discord, you know what it is. But if you're not, it's a platform for chatting. And it's basically where we continue talking during the week between live streams. There's a link to it in the description, and it's free to create an account and join up. And you can basically chat with other people with similar interests. Mostly cats, painting, and other things, but yeah. Jazz is so cute. She's so tiny. She has like super nice big ears and big eyes and a ginger bum. Daphne has been tended to and is now sleeping in a little nest on the bed. Aww. Wow, I'm slow today. Okay, get painting. Such a cute Hamo with a big personality who hates raspberries so much. I think there are other things she really hates. I'm trying to remember what it is. But there are other foods that Jazz just won't have any of it. And she's like super picky about her bedding material. It has to be a specific brand and type of tissues. She will snob the other brands. Aww. Mark says that the mama cat was an occasional visitor outside in our yard. We found her one day with the 5 babies, so we moved them in before the cold. That is so nice. How has the mom cat taken to living indoors? Kittens are never an issue because they will take really easily to being socialized, especially if they're super young. But sometimes the moms, if they've been feral before, the moment the mommy hormones stop kicking in, they will often really change in behavior. Can be really surprising. House is getting a bit small as the 8 cats all get bigger. Ah, yeah, it's always hard to, like, that's why rescue work is like so impressive. It's like you really bond with this animal that you're caring for, and then you have to give it to a good home. I mean, it's not gonna be in a dire place or anything. It's gonna go to a really nice home, but still you're attached to it. So how do you separate these feelings from? I mean, it's difficult. It's really difficult. She loves it indoors, but loves going outside when she can. Huh. That in those cases, I always wonder if the mom was a indoor cat at some point, and then was sort of forced into being outdoors, and now has her life be part of both. But some outdoor cat will definitely want nothing to do with indoors. Oh yeah, that's a good point. If possible, to get the moms spayed ASAP. They can get pregnant really soon after having kitties. It's insane. And it's difficult, really, for I think it's difficult for any cat, any pet to, any animal outside to have kids, but the thing is with cats, they often can have really large litters. And the bigger the litter, the harder it is for the mom to take care of them. My parents' cat Thor has a new ragdoll friend nemesis. They hate each other, but they're only play fighting. Aww. Oh, that reminds me. Last night we went to bed, and shortly after we shut down the lights, we hear some sort of ruckus going on in the kitchen. And I was like, if it's not me or Mr. E, it's definitely the cats, you know. So I was like, what is going on? They were making a lot of noise. So I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna go check. So I go and check, and both cats were in the kitchen window, and they were staring at their, what I would call their frenemy, which is another tortie from the neighborhood. And she was basically on the other side of the window, looking really, really confused in a way. And Scout was really annoyed with it. And Pickle was just like, sometimes it's Pickle who's the more annoyed, but this time it was Scout, and she was like breathing super loud and being all kinds of annoyed at the other cat. And eventually the cat outside just left. But it always makes me laugh because it's 90% of the time it's the same tortie they see outside, and they get all up in the window when they start making a fuss, and it's like, you know what, she's outdoor, you're indoor, nothing is gonna happen. Stop being silly. But at the same time, it's so funny. She was like, I'm pretty sure Scout was like all spread out in the window, like pawing at it and making the big noises. So yeah, it's always funny. Pet games are really, really silly because we have a tendency to put our human interpretation on them. But it's really not the same dynamic, so it can really look silly at times. It's the same with the misinformed notion that cats like to play with their prey. Like, I don't think cats really have this notion of like playing for play's sake. I think it's always linked to what they consider survival behaviors. So yeah, it looks to us like they're playing, of course, but the thing is they're not humans, so. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, you can make up all kind of fun anthropomorphic stuff, but there's a difference between telling a good story and taking it for truth. Lise was saying, I don't mind making up anthropomorphic stories, but we should know when we do it. Exactly. Lee says the neighborhood cats hang around the windows to invite Neuron out to play. But Neuron is the shrieking demon who does not tolerate other animals. Everywhere the sun touches is his domain. How dare there be other cats? Yeah. I think my cats are mostly confused because they've never been outside. They're not interested in going outside at all. So whenever they see another cat outside, I think they can recognize that it's a cat. But I think it sort of confuses them as well because there's another cat, but it's not there, but it's there, but it's not. And it's a cat, so I gotta show them that I'm the boss here, but I can't really get to them, so I think it's really a really weird situation for them to be in. So many shredded screens and broken things. Oh my gosh, I know. You can't have pretty things if you have pets. I'm sorry, but I always laugh a bit when I see people with cats who want to have nice furniture. I'm like, yeah, don't try. focus your energy elsewhere, because your cats won't care about your nice furniture at all. And if you if they understand that they're not supposed to, I don't know, scratch their claws on the nice furniture, they will understand it enough to do it when they want to piss you off or get your attention. Like, they will notice the pattern of like, hey, when I do my claws, when I scratch them on this couch, the human comes up at me and makes noises. So if I want the human to pay attention to me, I'm gonna go make my claws on the nice thing. This is why we can't have nice things. Honestly. You gotta be really choosy about what kind of nice thing you can get. Like, can a cat throw it on the floor? Then maybe you don't get it. Can a dog eat it? Then maybe you don't get it. Can't have rugs. You know that will be the first thing the dog sees potty on when it's raining. Yeah, and cats have this tendency to wipe their bum on carpets too, on rugs. I really hope that's predictive too. Patricia says, I wanted to test if Sydney would be interested in outdoors, so I opened the bedroom window, screen in, and she sniffed the air, then trotted off after a good look. I really hope that she's not interested in outdoors anymore. She looks so tiny. Like, there's definitely more security and comfort being indoors than outdoors. Yeah, rabbits are really, really destructive, but it's decidedly not their fault. That's just the way they're made, that they need to chew on things to keep their teeth in good order. So even if you give them things to chew on, I don't think they necessarily make a difference between like, this is okay to chew and this is not. So everything from cables to I think Cyan was mentioning that her bunny ate like 10 centimeters of one of her easel's feet. You know, an easel has legs in a way, and Bun ate off a chunk of one, so the easel now is cute. Which is not very practical when you want to paint, you know. And like, if you have cables, you need to take certain precautions so that the rabbit cannot chew through the cable, because that can be dangerous for the fire hazard and the Bun too. Can't have carpets out with the pups either. Oh, definitely not. Nope. Carpets are kind of a liability anyway. Like, it's so easy to slip on a carpet and hurt yourself. Like, you need really sturdy carpets that are like almost glued to the floor to make it not as dangerous. It's the same thing with cats and their claws. Like, people complain that cats will scratch their claws on stuff, but I mean, you cannot prevent a cat from doing that. That's part of their nature. But you can give the cat places where they will do it like 90% of the times, and you do it on the couch when they really want to piss you off. Oh my gosh. Lise says precisely, rabbits need to dig and chew, and they will find something you don't want them to chew on. Wallpaper, easel, footwear, cables, panels, carpets. So yeah, that's the thing. Like, I've seen so many people be like, the cat has ruined my couch, and I'm like, yeah, well, don't get a pet then. I have a friend who kind of makes me laugh in a way because, well, I know many people like that, so not just my friend, but some people are really, really against their cat going on the kitchen counters. And it always kind of makes me laugh in a way because I'm like, fine, you can possibly get your cat to understand that they shouldn't go there when you are home. But I'm sure that when you're not there, the cat is on the counter. Like, they don't care. Cats know that there's a difference when you're there and when you're not. So if there's something they feel they're not allowed to do when you're there, they're gonna wait until you're asleep or gone. And they're gonna go, and too bad. Furniture out of carrots. Aw. You would always need new furniture, though. I saw people, like, I don't think they were cat people, but other people, like, complaining that cats were gross and that they carry litter and everything around. And I'm like, yeah, but that's just, to me, it's like, well, you accept it and you work with it. Like, oh, fine, my cat went on the counter. Well, I'm gonna clean the counter before I use it for food. Like, that's it. I keep a disinfectant spray that's like natural and not toxic, and I clean up the counter and then I use it. But that's it. The end. that's not a big problem, you know. Agree, cats will do what they want when you're not looking. Exactly. They know the difference. Like, if you're not looking, you're not gonna yell at them and use your big voice. So just gonna wait a bit, and when you're not looking, I'm gonna do the thing. And I had a friend who was like, didn't quite enjoy when the cat would go on the carpet, but I'm like, it's a cat. It sees a carpet. What do you think it will do? It will want to go on the carpet. That's just, they don't like to be direct on the floor unless it's super warm and the floor is cold, you know. So if you have a carpet somewhere, of course it's gonna go on the carpet and shed hair there. That's just part of it. That's just the thing. Like, you gotta find a way to either work with it or... Well, yeah, she was not really mad at it. It just made me laugh because it was a complaint that sort of was avoided pretty fast since you have a cat. Like, you cannot hope that the cat will be respectful of surfaces and its own hair shedding. Like, maybe there's a market for responsible. I think that would be quite cute, like, to set the farmer's market to have things, like tiny things available for like a small chair made out of carrots for bunners that they can eat it. Like, just things that are cute or whatnot. But then again, maybe it's a lot of work for something that is essentially going to be eaten. And it would probably color everything orange too, to be honest. Too much sugar in carrots, really? That's a very good point. Tsukabu says, we are training our pups using crib pads that are like blankets. So we can't have things that resemble carpets out when they're having their romp in the house. Yeah, if they see something that look like the thing they can use as a toilet, they're gonna use it as a toilet for sure. They're just puppies. They don't know any better. They're just starting to associate things, so... Oh, that makes me think of another thing that I really, really like about cats, is that you don't need to potty train them. If you get a kitten, or if you have an adult cat, you just put them in the litter box once, and they automatically know what it is and what it's for. There is no training to do, usually. And that's great. That's a really nice thing. They will know what it's for, they will usually remember where it is, and that's it. Nothing else to do. That's pretty awesome. Lee says Neuron trained himself to pee in the toilet. That's impressive. That's a cat who saw humans do and went like, huh, you know what? I think I can do the same. Lee says, yeah, and if cats go outside their box, they always have a good reason. That's true. There's always a reason why they won't use the litter box. So if a cat doesn't use the litter box, you have to look into it more closely to figure out what is going on. Like, what is preventing them from using the litter box? It can be that they have a small injury on their paw that is irritated with the litter that you use. It can be that their litter box is not clean enough. They might have some reaction. Some litters, like the stuff you put in the litter box, have scents to them, which is definitely not ideal. Like, you should try to avoid things with perfume in it if your pet is in contact with it, because they're gonna groom themselves and eat the perfume, and that can be not so great. I wonder what the ancient Egyptians did. Well, they just let the cats out. I mean, it's not like they don't have sand over there. Thor's pees in the shower drain. Oh, wow. Oh, that's so cute. Tsukabu says, my Callisto, which is a puppers, is so stinking smart that she will holler at us if we forget to put a pad down in her pen after cleaning up. Aww. On the other hand, Neuron refuses to poop in the toilet. Sorry. I'm sorry. I hope that wasn't too loud, but wow. Neuron is really, really unique in that. He refuses to poop in the toilet, and if there's a trace of poop anywhere in his litter box, he will poop in the shower. I'm like, why did he came to that thought process? Oh, that's awesome. I have to slowly start moving Sydney's litter box from the bedroom where there were no boxes down to the laundry room, since the boxes are now empty and the house more so. Why do you need to go slowly about it? I would think that you could put the litter box in the new place and show it to her, and then she would know. Aw, I don't have my potty spot. Oh, Callisto, that's so cute. Well, they would roll around the litter if it had catnip in it. The thing is that it really depends on what you put in the litter. We used to put the thing that is made from, like, they take old paper, old newspaper, and they make, like, weird thingies, like pebbly things with it, and you fill your litter box with that. And it used to kind of keep the smell. And now we've switched to something that is made from, words fail me absolutely. You know when you chop wood and there is all this wood dust? Well, it seems like this new thing is made from compressed wood dust in pellets. And that really absorbs the smells better. The litter box smells a lot better since we started using that. Cats are pretty smart about their litter boxes, honestly. Thank you so much, Cleo. I hope you're I hope you have a good what's the word I'm looking for? Dude, I'm getting tired, I guess. But I hope things go smoothly in the getting stuff done department. Sawdust. Thank you. Yes, yes, and it's really weird because it's pellets of compressed sawdust, and when they use the litter box, when they pee, it separates, so it becomes just sawdust. But it really it makes for a less smellier litter. Not that it was gross, because we tried to keep it like clean enough, but I noticed when cleaning it that the smell is really less noticeable than it was with the newspaper pellets we had before. You gotta find a good balance of things that cats will think scent good enough and things that will cause them to roll around in it. That's what I had before, yesterday's newsletter. The thing doesn't have any odor, but my two cats, like after, when comes the time to like clean up the litter box, remove everything and put in some fresh one, there was a noticeable like ammonia smell, which is kind of normal because that's cats. But with the new one that we get, it has a really funny name. I don't know if it's in English as well, but it's called Generipe, and it's sort of a play on generic and ripe, the sawdust thingy. And it's much less expensive than yesterday's news for us, so we've switched to that, and that really neutralizes the ammonia smell better. Yeah, that's a good thing. With yesterday's news, you can scoop stuff from the litter box and dump it in the toilet, except for the peas, because it doesn't compress. It's not like it's not gonna make a bump, like a words. Words. Oh yeah, that's true. Neuron uses the toilets. You know what? I think we probably used a similar thing, because the at least the thing we use for the cats is also sold for bunnies. It's really, really similar. Ooh, wreath-based clumping litter. That's a good idea. Yeah, it's I kind of like it because I mean, yesterday's news is a really fine litter. We had no issues with it. But the thing is that it's kind of difficult to bring home because it has to be carried by hand by Mr. He, and sometimes when it's a bit hot or when it's a bit humid outside, yesterday's news come in a paper bag, so that's not easy to carry outside. If it rains a bit, like, it's gonna wet the paper and then it's gonna wet the litter and it's gonna be a mess. The new one is in a plastic bag, so that's a bit easier. And as far as I can tell, it doesn't track because it's sawdust. So it's called dust, but it's not actual dust. It's tiny pieces of wood. So oftentimes we can find pellets outside the litter box, but we used to be able to find pellets with the yesterday's news. If anything, I personally think it tracks less than yesterday's news. But then again, the floors here are really good to hide any kind of tracking, because it's a very weird color that hides everything. But yeah, then again, we have 2 cats, so it's twice the amount of use of a litter box. Ooh, ew. That's interesting. Lee says, also for your information, human urine reacts with cat urine and makes a really uniquely foul-smelling substance. Yuck! That's really nasty. The bag is a little less heavy. Hold on, I can check. quoi de Yesterday's News versus ce qu'on prend maintenant?
C'est la moitié.
Non, c'est pas tout à fait la moitié.
Ah non, c'est la moitié du prix pour le 3/4 du poids.
Ouais.
C'est 12 kilos versus 9 kilos.
C'est 12 kilos avant le Yesterday's News? Okay.
2 livres, quelque chose comme ça?
Ouais, à peu près. Okay, so I asked the main the main litter person here. So Yesterday's News is what, about 12 kilograms per bag. The wood one is 9 kilograms, but it's half the price of Yesterday's News. So what, a bag of Yesterday's News was about $20. So the wood one is about $10 per bag. And it's made in Canada, which is, you know, great. I mean, I'm fine with Yesterday's News. It's a good brand, but it's kind of nice to be able to have one less thing made by Nestlé in this house. Oh, I didn't know that. Hold on. Let's make it absolutely more about weird stuff. Let me get... Do you have Mondu stores in Ontario? I'll go get some of that. Est-ce qu'on est tenté de parler de litière pendant le livestream? Oui. Je veux juste montrer c'est quoi le sac. Why, yes, that's a bag of litter. Okay, hold on. This is what it says on it. So here you have the générique, which is kind of a play on générique, which means like generic. It says cat litter or small animals. Can be safely used for small animals like rabbits, ferrets, hamster, birds, and cats, obviously. Made from pelletized wood sawdust. Recyclable, can be used as mulch or compost. And it's made in Quebec, so hold on. It's kind of funny to me. I don't know if you guys can see. Oh yeah, okay. It's made in Saint-Jean-de-Mata. So yeah, and it has a cute cat on it, so I mean, that's kind of cute, right? Alright. Show and tell is over. Hey, Just Table! You're in at a pretty weird moment. Like, if you don't have exactly that, Patricia, you can possibly see something similar that could be interesting. Yeah, the packaging is really simple, and it's a plastic bag that is recyclable, I think. Well, it's pretty straightforward, so I'm kind of happy with it. Been experimenting with making your own indigo. Sorry, it's easier to do indigo if you purchase the pigment already. Alright, I'm mostly done for today, I think. This is the doodle that happened. And it's been a really fun chat. We always end up having weird topics in here, so nothing really new there. So, unless there are more questions, we'll do the usual announcements. In that yeah, if you want to keep if you want to keep talking about whatever we like, cats, arts, pets, yarn, we have all sorts of topics over there. But like I said, we have a Discord channel. It's basically a platform to chat, so we can keep conversations going from between two live streams over there, and it's pretty fun, and we can share a bunch of stuff, and it's a really nice place. So I encourage you to check it out if you're interested. It's free, you just have to make an account, and if you have any questions over there, feel free to ask. Someone is going to be able to answer. It's pretty simple. And aside from that, there is not much else to say. So yeah, if you have like curious about links and whatnot, I have a bunch of them in the description below there. And aside from that, I will probably do another live stream next weekend, usually on Saturday for Caturday, because we paint cats. So have a great weekend, everyone, and take care, and see y'all pretty soon. Bye bye. Hey, Kelly.